I'm Jack Kennedy, and we're here to bring you the latest in MMA.
Hey everybody, my name's Hunter Boss, and what the boss says goes.
What is up everyone, my name is Keelan McNamara, and you already know what time it is.
Hello everyone, it is Fight Week, UFC 280, and I'm so excited. We're all so excited. I mean, this is going to be an amazing fight card, a historic fight card. We already know it. So we're not predicting the whole fight card today. That'll be for Friday's podcast. Stay tuned for that. But we have a lot to talk about. Dariush versus Matthias Gamrot. We'll be breaking down, going over the past fight night. But to start off the podcast, we're starting with a fun segment. Would you rather? We'll each be asking a would you rather question. The other two will be answering it. Hunter, you want to get started?
Sure. Yeah. Now I want you guys to think about this one without just immediately answering.
Gotcha.
Who would you rather see as champion? Aljamain Sterling or TJ Dillashaw? I have a good answer for this, but
no, you can answer
for a certain reason. I'll tell you what I think.
Okay.
I want TJ Dillashaw as champion so I can see him lose that belt again.
Yes. I'm on the same page. What I want to happen, I want TJ Dillashaw to win. Then so that way Petr Yan beats Sean O'Malley, Petr Yan beats TJ Dillashaw, balance is restored. That's my hope. I like that.
Hunter, I thought we weren't friends anymore, but then you pulled it out of the fire at the last second. I like that. You tease me and you intrigue me. Well played, Hunter.
Like a Sour Patch Kid.
Like a Sour Patch Kid, indeed. Well played. I mean, this is actually a much more interesting question than I initially thought it was. That's why your question's so clever. Obviously, ever since he met Andrew Tate, I want Aljamain Sterling to win. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't cancel me. We're just having fun. That's all it is. We're just having a joke. That's a very interesting theory. I like that. I like where you're going with that. If I'm being honest, I would like Aljamain Sterling to win, honestly, just so TJ doesn't win. And I'm actually putting my hatred of TJ Dillashaw aside here. I just don't think the shot's deserved. That's why I want him to lose. If TJ had convincingly beaten Corey Sanhagen, or at least a couple of other people, then at least I could have put my rationale hat on and I would have been able to defend him being in this title fight. The problem is I cannot find any justification for TJ Dillashaw being in this fight, and that's the reason that I want him to lose. As for the other narrative, I actually like where you guys are going with that. TJ winning just to lose it to Petr Yan is a very interesting narrative. Or if TJ, I mean, it's such a shame he's retired now, but if TJ lost it to Jose Aldo, I absolutely would have been with that. But personally, I'm going to stick with Aljo winning just because TJ didn't deserve to be there.
Nice. All right, you got one, Keelan? Would you rather?
God, I'm actually struggling to think of one because we ask ourselves these questions a lot. I'll tell you what, guys, let's switch up the structure for the day. Jack, you hit us with yours and then I'll round it out.
All right, you ready for this one, guys? Would you rather eat a Joe Rogan spinning sidekick to the groin or eat the shot that Francis Ngannou landed on Alistair Overeem, that uppercut?
Oh. I'd get the uppercut. I'd take the uppercut any day. I'll get knocked out and I won't feel a lot of it for if I get that Joe Rogan spinning back kick to the you said groin?
Yeah.
No, I'm not only am I not going to I'm gonna feel it every day that I'm alive.
Yeah.
And my kids will feel it too. They'll come out looking not right.
So Stewie Griffin like.
I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, they're gonna come out looking like Stewie Griffin. So I'm going with Ngannou.
Yeah, I agree with Hunter. I'm going to take the Ngannou uppercut. Firstly, because to be able to say you took an Ngannou uppercut, there's actually a little bit of respect to that. You know, you can walk around and say, yeah, I got hurt, but I took a Francis Ngannou uppercut. You can't hurt me. And plus, you're going to feel it for a little bit, and then it's eventually going to go away. I'm going to live with the pain of Joe Rogan's sidekick for the next 40, 50 years, a pain I don't like. And gents watching this, if you've ever been hitting the balls, you will know how sore that is. taking a flush Joe Rogan sidekick will give you a pain that has never been before experienced. Plus, one day I harbor hopes of having a family myself, and I'd like to keep that dream alive at least for a little longer. So I'm going to take Francis Ngannou's uppercut for $10, Jack.
All right, nice. Yeah, I'd take being in a coma for a month over that probably. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay. All right. Here's my would you rather. Would you rather Conor McGregor comes back to a title shot or John Jones comes back to a title shot?
John Jones, 10 times over. McGregor doesn't
Really?
deserve a title shot. John Jones hasn't lost, if we're being honest. So, John Jones.
Yeah, 100%. John Jones is at least logical. Plus, is still in the talks. I mean, plus also it'd be at a new weight class. What would Conor come back to a title shot with right now? Like if he did, it would be like 185. Which could you picture this for a second? Could you picture Alex Pereira versus Conor McGregor?
I
What would
can.
happen?
Strangely, I can.
No, but John Jones. Plus, there's more mystery around it. We have no idea what he's going to look like at heavyweight. And what the potential matchups would be. So yeah, I agree. John Jones, 100%.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. All right, guys. Very nice. Let's go ahead and transition on to the news. Alexa Grasso got a win, unanimous decision over her opponent Viviana Rujo. Hunter, what do you think about the fight? What do you think about the implications for Alexa Grasso going forward?
Fight was all right.
Yeah.
It finally emerged a new contender at 125 pounds, which I feel like we really needed.
Yeah.
But the fight overall was pretty okay. The first round was really close, I felt like. No girl was really getting the advantage at any point in the fight. Both girls were landing at will. But come the second through fifth round, you could see Alexa Grasso really just starting to take the pace. She would get taken down a few times, but immediately would get back up, showing great, at least, ability to stand back up. Her hands looked flush. She couldn't miss that night. She looked really pristine, really good. Do I think she can hold up against the champ? No. But it was a good performance, and I'm happy to see another contender at 125 pounds.
Yeah, I agree with Hunter. I think it was an okay fight. It was a fight night main event realistically in terms of the standard that we expect. So that's entirely fair. As he said, Alexa Grasso from the second round really stepped on the gas, really did her part at least anyway. And she got the win, which at the end of the day is the reason we all show up. We don't show up to go out and be exciting, but to lose. But at least she won. That's where it is. Vivian Araujo, sorry, I think it's a bit of a big setback for her. I think this was her chance to really grab the spotlight in that division, and I think she kind of let the chance get away from her. But like Hunter said again, I agree with him. This is a division that's desperately needed a decent name challenger for a long time, and I think Alexa Grasso could very much fill that void if she's smart with the right call out and the right matchup next. I think she could not be that far away from a title shot. So as far as I'm concerned, the fight was okay. It was what it was, but the implications could be big by all means. Alexa Grasso, well played.
Yeah, piggybacking off of what you guys already said, was it the most exciting fight? No. This fight night wasn't even really up to the standards of other fight nights we've seen so far this year. It's a filler fight night because UFC 280 is this week. That's what it was. It's one of those fight nights where you put it on, people are going to watch it because there hasn't been fights in a week, and you get to promote UFC 280 like crazy.
Shout out Alonzo Menafield, though.
Yes, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. The fights are always sleeper fights on these cards because they're making a name for themselves. Because there's a lot of, it's almost like a full prelim card with a decent, ranked main event. And you get the fighters that are going out there and making a name for themselves. So it's always a good card usually. But yeah, the fight, not overly exciting, but key takeaways I found was Alexa Grasso, her boxing, and we knew this, but it's up there for the elite level of the women's flyweight division. It's so good.
Very good.
If she could just fine tune some of her grappling defense and mix in some leg kicks and really stop headhunting so much and work on her movement a little bit, she could really be at that, ready to challenge for a title. And I think she's one fight away. I think that's what most people are saying, a title eliminator fight. But I was super impressed. I think that it was like Hunter saying, it was close early, but as the fight went on, she kind of just took over, and just her boxing, extremely impressive. She held a power advantage, a speed advantage, and just looked crisp. So if she can use that boxing but mix in some other techniques, I think we're looking at a very fun fighter to watch at flyweight. So those are my key takeaways, and I'm looking forward to see Alexa Grasso take that next step to becoming a championship level fighter. But yeah, solid fight night overall for sure.
Yeah, I think actually someone like Molly McCann would be a really good step up. I
Hmm.
think that would be a decent eliminator fight to see who actually goes on to fight Valentina. Obviously, Tyler Santos is still waiting in the wings.
Yes.
I don't know what they have going on with her, but to her credit, obviously she had a great fight against Valentina the first time. If I'm matchmaking though, Molly McCann needs a better opponent. We've kind of got her to the stage of momentum now. This you can't really keep giving her lesser opponents like you're doing Paddy Pimlet. So realistically, Molly McCann, Alexa Grasso, put that on a pay-per-view. That sells pretty well. I think that's the fight to make next.
Well, it's interesting because Molly McCann's fighting Miranda Maverick on, or no, who is she fighting?
Aaron Blanchfield.
Erin Blanchfield,
Oh,
still a
that's
very tough
right, yeah.
opponent
She's
on
a good
November 12th.
scrapper. I like her.
That's definitely a level up because Molly McCann, I don't think is she ranked yet. She might not be,
I don't know. I don't think she is.
but that
She
Erin
hasn't fought
Blanchfield,
anyone ranked though. They could
no,
have put her in like they
yeah,
did like Jack Shore.
yeah. But I agree. She needs to start leveling up, and if she beats Blanchfield, she's really in the conversation. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's a fun division starting to come alive, and I love it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the best of the best. And this is how we're ending off this podcast. We're gonna have a whole episode dedicated to UFC 280 because the card is so stacked. But not that many people are focusing in on this particular fight that we're about to talk about. But it deserves so much praise, and we're gonna go in depth and talk about it right now. Beneil Dariush versus Mateus Gamrot. What are our thoughts? What are we thinking going into UFC 280?
I'm thinking that I didn't think we can get a better wrestling match than Sarukian versus Gamrot. And here we are with Dariush
Yeah,
versus Gamrot, where this is going to be extremely entertaining on the ground. If you are one who doesn't really like wrestling matches, then I would say maybe skip this fight on the main card. But also I would say save hope because there could be a chance where they just don't even wrestle at all. Because a lot of those really good wrestlers and really good jiu-jitsu artists, when they run into another one of their level or surpass it, they like to stay on the feet. So you get a good striking match.
yeah,
Either way, though, this is what I think of the fight. I think Dariush, though being at 32, has been looking slower in his last few fights. He's been fighting in the UFC for around 10 years now, so that's got to take a toll on you. And honestly, you can't count him out, though. That's the thing. He's on a good, really nice win streak right now. He's got a 6 or 7 fights in his win streak. He could strike off of the reactions of Joe Rogan and John Anik and DC.
yeah.
He has that comeback of the year. He's got spinning back fist knockouts. He's got submissions. He out wrestled and out grappled Tony Ferguson. He's an impressive fighter. But the last fight I saw from Gamrot shows that I want to pick Gamrot in this fight because he is not only younger, he is more athletic, and it looks like he wants it more. When he was fighting Sarukian, he uses athleticism, he uses his MMA IQ. It just looked all on point, and it looks like he has that flow state right now where he can't be beat. So I'm going to pick Gamrot over Dariush. I think this is just going to be a more trying performance from Gamrot. I think he's going to try to get those finishes more. He's going to try to get on top in those wrestling exchanges more. I think Dariush is going to be more compliant with laying on his back or taking a step back in that fashion. So I've got Gamrot. I'm going to say unanimous decision. I think they're too good to finish each other. And I say that because what the boss says goes.
Oh, we waited for the promo line and he delivered it in spades. Well played, Hunter. Nice one. I actually do like this fight because I think it's the biggest sleeper in the lightweight division against the biggest rising star in the lightweight division. And that's why I actually
Yeah.
do like this fight. Beneil Dariush, obviously, Jack, you gave us a very important statistic there. 32 years old, but has been in the UFC for 10 years. And that's a lot of longevity to have in a company like the UFC. They don't keep you around that long unless you know what you're doing. And we all know Beneil Dariush very much knows what he's doing. Then we have Mateus Gamrot, who put on one of the best performances I've seen from him, if not the best, against Arman Sarukian, who I actually thought would bloody Gamrot up quite badly. I think that was the prediction I made when we covered that
Yeah.
fight. But this is going to be a really good fight, and I think this is going to be a fight that exceeds many people's expectations as well. Hunter's already outlined perfectly eloquently, wrestler against wrestler. We all know generally 1+1 equals fish, and that whenever they meet one of their kind, they generally stand and bang when they both can neutralize each other's skill sets. I personally would agree with that. I don't think there's going to be as much wrestling, but I think the one thing that might tip this in Benil Dariush's favor is his experience and his sort of wily veteranism, so to speak. Like I said, he's been in the division or he's been in the company for 10 years. And, he knows all the tricks of the trade. His jiu-jitsu and his wrestling are both incredibly underrated. And I think for Mateus Gamrot, it's a very good step up. I think it's a very worthy step up in competition, but it could be a bridge too far in terms of experience. That would be my one concern for Mateus Gamrot. I think the last time I checked the betting odds, they had Gamrot as the favorite, I think.
Yeah.
I know a couple of places had it quite wishy-washy, but a lot of them had it for Gamrot, and I understand that. But I think personally, the one thing that could tip this in Benil Dariush's favor is that experience. So I actually do like Hunter's prediction of Mateus Gamrot by unanimous decision. I'm going to say Benil only for the experience factor. I think that's what will win it out for him. I'm going to say Benil Dariush by unanimous decision.
This is interesting. This is very interesting. I'm pretty solid on Benil Dariush, and not because of the experience. I think that Gamrot is a phenomenal fighter. I really do. He beat Arman Sarukian, but it was not super decisive. Did he get the better of the exchanges on the ground? Absolutely. But on the feet, he was getting pieced up by Arman. We know, obviously, Benil Dariush is not the most technical striker on the feet. However, as Hunter talked about, he can knock people out, and he has real power. Gamrot has not shown that he possesses that power at all. And on the ground, I think that they're about equal. If not, I'd almost give the advantage still to Benil Dariush based off what I've seen in his career. Let's just say, for the sake of saying it, Gamrot is the new wave, and he is slightly better on the ground. I still don't think he can finish Benil Dariush on the ground or even hold him on the ground. So then, when they're on the feet, I think Benil Dariush holds the power and will put the constant pressure. That's something about Benil Dariush. Gamrot does it too. But from what I've seen in every single one of his fights, it's nonstop, constant pressure that leads to either a takedown where he gets a submission or throwing wild punches and knocking someone out. I think he lands one of those punches, and I think he drops Gamrot. I think he goes TKO round 3. I think Gamrot's extremely tough, extremely durable. But this is also such a meaningful fight for Benil Dariush. And this is also something you could use against him, of course, the inactivity. But it's not that he hasn't been trying to be active. He tried to get that Islam fight book. It didn't work out. There's so many fights. He's been trying to fight, hasn't been able to fight. And it's been almost 2 years. Am I right about that? I might be right about that. It's been a long time.
It's been about a year and a half at least. It must have been.
At least, for sure.
Feels like it.
So getting back in there is huge. In this lightweight division, he was ranked second at the time. It moved so fast. I mean, look at just the title reign of Charles Oliveira by Benil Dariush comparison. It's wild. This is such a meaningful fight for him. If he loses, UFC title reign, chase is over, most likely for Benil Dariush. If he wins, people are like, oh, we forgot about this guy. The dark horse remains. I think Benil Dariush gets it done. I think it's going to be a round 3 TKO. I think Gamrot's just going to be a step behind in this fight, but we'll take a lot of lessons from it and we'll come back stronger. That's my prediction. Because if you want the facts, you listen to Jack, and that's why.
I like it. I don't necessarily disagree with all that what you say. I just think from what we saw in his last fight, or Arman Sarukian and Gamrot's last fight, it seemed to me that Gamrot looks like he's not going to be finished anytime soon.
That's true.
Sarukian was landing huge elbows in his guard. Even in the standing exchanges, whenever he got pieced up by Sarukian, because he did have good boxing on that night, he wasn't going down and he wasn't backing up. He still kept going forward and he still kept going for takedowns, which shows me that it's going to be really hard to finish him. And in a 3-round endeavor where he keeps going forward, I just have the younger guy with the more athleticism. I have the guy who has probably the better gas tank. Dariush, like you said, hasn't fought in at least a year and a half. And the reason why he didn't fight his last fight is because he got hurt. How has that injury affected him? We don't really know right
True.
now. We haven't seen any training footage of Beneil Dariush. I don't know if you guys have. I haven't seen a lick of it. I haven't seen
Funny
much of him
enough.
on embedded. In fact, I don't know how he's standing physically, and I don't know how he's doing mentally. So, what I do know is Gamrot's coming in high. He's coming in off of wins. He's coming off of a really difficult win in that fact, and I don't think he's going to get a more difficult fight in the division for a while. So, I can't go against Gamrot.
It's actually funny, guys, because I find myself planted in the middle of in between the two of you. I agree with Jack in picking Dariush, but I'm picking him by a decision because of what Hunter just said. I think Dariush has definitely got knockout power, but he has cumulative knockout power. He has to land a lot of punches before he finishes you. It's not Benil Dariush doesn't have one shot kill shot power like a Francis Ngannou does. His knockout power is landing a 3, 4, 5 strike combo and then finishing you, which is very different to having the ability to turn the lights out on the flick of a dime. That's why I think it will be a decision. I do think Mateus Gamrot is too young and too durable to be finished by any one shot that Benil Dariush can throw. But I think the experience will allow Benil Dariush to get around that and sort of flank that from Mateus Gamrot, so to speak. Another thing as well, the last point I'll make is, and it's actually alluding to a point that Jack just made, Benil Dariush is not just fighting, to stay in the title hunt. He's fighting to stay relevant. And that's very different from where he was a year and a half ago. And that's what inactivity can do to you. Now, of course, Benil was injured, and I'm not, throwing that against him in any way. But it tells you how quickly the sands of time move. When he last fought Tony Ferguson, he was number 2. We were trying to make the Islam Makhachev fight. Now we've had Arman Sarukian, Mateus Gamrot, and a couple of others come into the top 15, and he's fighting just to not get swept away by the current of momentum. So this fight is very intriguing because it has a lot of different aspects going into it. It's a much deeper layered fight than a lot of people think it is. But Benil Dariush will still win by decision, in my opinion. And gents, do you want to know why that is? Do you know why Benil Dariush is going to win against the betting favorite? Because when you want to know where it's at, you listen to the Mac.
That was a nice touch. That was a nice touch. I like it. I like it.
Very
Yeah.
1960s.
It was good. It was good. Yeah, this is why we're talking about this fight, guys, because it's so competitive. Not just on paper, it will be so competitive. And nothing that we're saying is incorrect. We're slightly disagreeing with each other on the result, but everything Hunter just said, I completely agree with. It's absolutely valid. He is the younger guy. He has shown unbelievable durability. Everything I've been saying is true at the same time too. Like Dariush arguably needs it more. He's going forward. Like, it's such a good fight, and I'm so excited for it. And the fact that this is a fight that is the 4th fight down on the main card just shows you how stacked this card really is. And I'm glad we were able to give these guys props, because on the next podcast, we're going to be talking about the main 3 fights. I am so excited for that. UFC 280 looms. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to the podcast. As always, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. You can listen to us everywhere, literally everywhere, including iTunes and Spotify. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at mma.island.pod and check out our website, mmaisland.net. Thank you, everyone, again, so much for listening. Great podcast, guys.
Thank you, guys. And make sure to tune in on Friday for our Pick'em special.
Friday's where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. Not like the movie, but like the episode. Check it out.